Hi, I'm Karina Garcia, and today we're going to talk about the biosphere. Hi, I'm Karina Garcia, and today we're going to talk about the biosphere. So, for starters, we need to know what is ecology. And ecology is the scientific study of interactions among and between organisms in a particular environment. So, with that being said, we know that organisms live in the biosphere, which consists of parts of the planet in which all life exists. So there are different levels of ecological organization. For example, first we have individual, which is each species by itself. Then we have an assemblage of individual that belong to the same species and live in the same area, called a population. Afterwards, we have a community, which is an assemblage of different populations that live together in the area. And then we have ecosystem, which is all organisms that live in a particular place together with their physical environment. And finally, we have a biome, which is a group of ecosystems that have similar climate and organisms. Afterwards, we have biotic and abiotic factors. These are two different things. For example, an abiotic factor is the living part of an environment. It could be plants, animals, humans, etc. Then we have an abiotic factor. An abiotic factor is non-living parts of the environment, for example, the sun, the water, etc. Finally, we have the ecological methods. There are three basic methods. There's observation, experimentation, and finally modeling. Observation often leads to questions, which often have a hypothesis of what you believe the answer would be to the question. Afterwards, the experiments are used to prove if your hypothesis was correct or incorrect. And finally, modeling is so other people can understand the process you went through and could and should be able to repeat your process and your steps. Next, we have primary producers, which are autotrophs, or the ones that can make their own food, for example, or actually only plants. Since we have to feed on animals and plants in order to survive, since we cannot produce our own food. Only plants are able to do that. This is through a process called photosynthesis. They capture the light and they convert it, carbon dioxide and water, into oxygen and sugars. The process is called photosynthesis. However, the plants that are in the bottom that don't receive sunlight go through a different process called chemosynthesis. It's called chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is a process used for those plants that don't receive sunlight or as much sunlight. For example, the plants that are very, very, very deep down in the ocean. Afterwards, we have the consumers, which are the ones that eat the plants or also the ones that feed on other animals. We have heterotrophs. These are organisms that rely on other organisms for their energy and food. Heterotrophs are also referred to as consumers. There are many different types of heterotrophs. We have herbivores that only eat plants, carnivores that only eat animals, omnivores that eat both plants and animals, detritivores that feed on dead matter, decomposers that break down organic matter, and finally scavengers that consume the carcasses of other animals. Okay, next we have food chains and food webs. A food chain is a series of steps in which organisms transfer energy by eating and being eaten. Producers are the very base of all food chains, due to that they do not eat anyone else, but they obtain their own food and provide themselves their own food. A food web is a network of all the food chains in an ecosystem put together, also having the producers at the very bottom. Then we have first level consumers, second level consumers, etc. Next, we have trophic levels and ecological pyramids. Each step up in the food chain or food web is a trophic level. The higher the trophic level, the less the energy that the organism is going to receive. An ecological pyramid is a diagram that shows the relative amounts of energy of matter. Our pyramids, there are different of these. There are pyramids of energy, pyramids of biomass, and pyramids of numbers. Pyramids of energy show relative amounts of energy available at different trophic levels. Pyramids of biomass show the total amount of living tissue at the trophic level, and a pyramid of numbers shows the relative numbers of the organisms at different trophic levels. Finally, we have the cycles of matter. Basically, recycling the biosphere is elements passing through one organism to another and from one part of the biosphere to another. This process is called biogeochemical cycles, which are very close loops powered by the flow of energy. Next, there's the water cycle, where the evaporation is the process in which the water changes from liquid to a gas, and transpiration is when water evaporates from the leaves of the plants. Next, we have the nutrient cycles, which is the chemical substance that an organism needs to survive is called a nutrient. There are different types, like the carbon cycle, which is key ingredient of all organic compounds due to that all organic compounds have carbon. This includes photosynthesis and human activities such as burning. There's the nitrogen cycle, which is all organisms to build proteins. Inside the nitrogen cycle, we have the nitrogen fixation, which is certain bacteria being converted into nitrogen gas into ammonia. And then we have denitrification, which is soil bacteria convert nitrogen compounds called nitrates back into nitrogen gas. Finally, we have the phosphorus cycle, which is needed for molecules such as DNA and RNA to be stored in rocks and ocean sediments. This gradually releases into water and solid where it's used by organisms. And finally, we have the nutrient limitation, which is in short supply can limit the productivity of an ecosystem, is called a limiting nutrient. Thank you.